How's it going, guys? Cody back again, dropping out another video. Right, guys, this is a story in the Sunderland Echo. It's about a plot between a member of staff and a prisoner to smuggle spice in cereal boxes into the prison. Headline reads, Sunderland man and prison cook conspired to smuggle spice hidden in cereal boxes into jail for inmates to use. A Sunderland man and prison cook are behind bars after conspiring to smuggle spice hidden in cereal boxes into a jail for use by inmates. Lindsay Kerr was caught carrying over £108,000 worth of banned items into HMP Northumberland, hidden in shredded wheat and crunchy nut cornflakes boxes, when she was stopped by security at the jail gates in November of 2016. The 47-year-old single mum, who had worked in the prison kitchens for more than 2 decades, confessed. She'd confided in prisoners about her cash flows problems about a year earlier and ended up selling her soul for their dirty money since. Kerr said she used the dirty money to buy a mobility scooter for her father, a car for her daughter, and have new windows fitted at her home. At Newcastle Crown Court, Kerr, who said she was relieved to have been caught, pleaded guilty to possession with intent to supply former legal high spice and conspiracy to supply prohibited items into a prison. Gary Wilden of Arthur Avenue, Sunderland, admitted the same charges. The court heard how the 34-year-old, whose brother Christopher was serving a life sentence at the prison, was responsible for the contents of the crunchy nut cornflakes box, which was valued behind bars of £54,906 and contained spice, prescriptions, drugs and SIM cards. Prosecutor Alec Burns told the court he packed those items and taken them from his house through the Tyne Tunnel to that Lindsay Kerr for delivery. Kerr and Wilden now have both been jailed for 2 years and 8 months. Mr. Recorder Nicholas Lumley QC said, Kerr had become trapped in a cycle of greed. I don't really think it's a cycle of greed if you're trying to keep your head above water, is it? And that she was an ideal person for prisoners to prey upon. Her problem was, guys, when she's opened up to prisoners about her money flow problems, they've seen it straight away and like, right, we can manipulate the situation to our advantage. And that's exactly what they did. The judge said prisons are dangerous enough places without drugs. With drugs, they become places where people are at greater risk of harm or death. The judge said spice puts prison staff at risk and caused inmates' deaths in the past. Ross Ray, 27, of Westview, Sunderland, and Gavin Richardson of Nile Street, Sunderland, both admitted possession with intent to supply spice after their fingerprints were found on the inner packages within the crunchy nut cornflake box. Oh my God. When you are doing something like this, gloves. Don't ever be complacent. If you are active within criminality, you have to act as if, let's act as if this is if we get caught, right? So you have that mentality, and you literally you go over everything with a fine tooth comb. When you are committing crime actively, you have got to factor in the deceit of law enforcement when you were doing what you were doing. You've got to be forensically and digitally aware. So their fingerprints were found on the inner packages within the crunchy nut cornflakes box. The court heard they had helped with the packaging on Wielden's behalf, but did not know the destination of the drugs was the prison. Ree was sentenced to 9 months imprisonment, suspended for 2 years with 250 hours unpaid work. Richardson was sentenced to 12 months imprisonment, suspended for 2 years with 270 hours of community unpaid work. The court heard the boxes Kerr was carrying on the day of her arrest contained spice, prescription drugs, phones, tranquilizers, steroids, SIM cards, Jack Daniels, syringes and hypothermic needles. They weren't messing about, was they? Prosecutor Alec Burns told the court she was relieved to have been caught, fully admitted the offences and said it had gone on for months and months. She explained she'd been struggling with finances and she had a daughter at uni and she thought her wages were about to be reduced. She admitted she made the mistake of saying it in front of prisoners. That was this mistake. Keir of Lawrence Avenue, Amble, Northumberland, confessed she'd hoped to take just in one batch of contraband, but ended up taking in more and more and sold her soul. Obviously, the more drugs you take in, the more money you can earn, and the prisoners knew this. Peter Schofield, defending Kerr, said she'd struggle with mental health and suffer bereavements. Mr. Schofield said she's ashamed of what she did. It created it in itself even more stress for her. Chris Morrison, defending Wielden, said that he was a hard-working dad with a link in a chain, no more than that, and he'd only been involved in one box. Tony Hawks, not the skateboarder guys, also defending, said Ray and Richardson did not know it was Mr. Wielden's intention to supply it to the prison system. Well, you don't see people going round handing over like, here's your drug deal, mate. Here's, take these shreddies. Or should I say Spice Crispies, not Rice Krispies, Spice Crispies. That should have been the pun on this, the tagline. Detective Constable Carl Ray of Northumbria's police in Northern CID said, "This is a very serious offence and we work closely with prisons to prevent this type of criminal activity. It is harder than ever before to smuggle contraband into prison. Well, it's not, because prisoners bring it in every day and prison officers. And if anyone does try, they should expect to be identified and placed under arrest. Those four individuals thought they could beat the system, but they were wrong and must now face the consequences. Ultimately, if you try to smuggle or contraband into prison, you could find yourself behind bars." But look at the risk versus the reward there, right? She's been doing it for months and months, guys, and then they don't start big and get gradually smaller. They start small and get gradually bigger. £108,000 worth, that must be prison. Even by prison standards, guys, they like to make it up because it just takes the banding over. Do you know what I mean? £108,000, man, of worth of contraband. That's prison. If you've got a drug on the street, it'll be worth X amount. You get it over the threshold, then it goes up 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. 8, 7, 8, 9 times that. Can't get my words out, guys. Ooh. So yeah, so that was it. What do you reckon to the story, guys? She did it. She opened her mouth in front of prisoners, because when you're working alongside the prisoners, you open up. She's opened up. As soon as she said that, they was like, bam, tuned in, zeroed in on her, knowing she is struggling for money. We can then put our proposition to her, which is, you bringing drugs, we'll pay you. You can earn money. You can keep your head above water. Do you know what I mean? Sorry, guys, I got an itch. So yeah, so big business, guys. It's happening in prisons up and down the country. Prison officers are bringing drugs into prison, or prison workers. Happening on a daily basis within prisons, but the Ministry of Justice don't like to acknowledge these stories. I'll leave it on that note, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, Cody out.